Good evening and salutations, my GH fans. So, Michael is mentioned to dig himself an even deeper hole. So, Dante comes to question Jacinda, and when he walks in, he sees Michael, pretty much putting on his shirt from, coming from the bathroom, meaning that they spent the night together. So they tell their story, or Jacinda tells her story, and he tells the story. Hey, listen, after being at the Porcho's Grill, they wound up going back and having a room and doing God knows what with a 304, and that pretty much kind of concludes the interview more or less. But then Dante was like, "Do you mind if I have a moment with my brother?" Talks to him by himself. He's like, "All right, come on." It's like, what are we doing? You obviously paid this chick. You're not hanging out with a prostitute. You're not doing that. Or a call girl. You're not doing that. I know you. So just tell me, just level with me what's really going on. And he pretty much just kinda is like, I'm sticking to the story and that's pretty much about it. But before he really gets a chance to, kinda talk no more, he gets a call probably from Liesel saying that Rocco got hurt. Rocco got hurt because he was chasing the Outback. See, he was with Liesel and he was with Charlotte, and they were hanging out for a little bit. And Liesel went to go get her food, and Charlotte and Rocco was going to telling Charlotte not to say anything as far as Liesel was concerned because with Lulu, because that whole thing is still it's very contentious still. And Charlotte gets it because she doesn't really like to talk about Valentine in front of Lulu because she still tenses up and acts all weird and everything like that. Rocco, see, Rocco didn't tie up Outback or didn't put a leash on him for some odd reason, and I do not understand why certain people don't bother to put leashes on their dogs, right? And so I guess there was a sound, there was a noise or whatever, and Outback runs outside and um, Rocco and Charlotte follow after the dog. Next thing you know, I guess Rocco must have hit a branch or whatever and cut himself pretty deep. Deep enough to where he needed stitches and he had to go to the hospital. So that's what that call was about. So Dante left and Jacinda was like, "Did he buy it?" And Michael was like, "No," but he still has to sit there and write it down. And, Jacinda also needs an alibi as well. So, like Michael said, we're helping each other out. You should probably help yourself out by, telling the truth. Because, like, Drew got some very nefarious plans. And him lying just makes it a lot worse. Um, Anna questions Curtis with Martin. And in the beginning, Anna was like, you luring up makes you look guilty. It was like, no, it makes him protecting his goddamn rights. Like, no, 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 no. He was like, he was a cop. He's not being railroad. That's not how any of this is going down. So he pretty much answers her questions, but there is a timeline between when he goes to Savoy by himself to where he hangs out with Jordan at the Brown Dog. That's kind of unaccounted for. So, I mean, like Martin said, hey, listen, just because he was by himself doesn't mean that he's guilty, and that's true. It also means that you're not leaving town, and they can pretty much kind of call you in for any more questions because he's also lacking an alibi during a certain time period. Which Curtis comes back to, and I forgot to mention that Trina was in this episode. Curtis comes back to Portia and tells him what's going on. That he did the questions and everything like that. But he's like, "Here's what I need you to do. I need you to pretty much kind of act like everything is hunky dory between us, because if it comes to the public light that Drew was responsible for blowing up their marriage or whatever, then it can make Curtis look more guilty, even though technically he already has motives to sit there and off Drew anyway. But I guess it would just be worse. So um, I don't know. He just wants to make sure everything is like hunky dory publicly, which is probably going to be a problem because Isaiah, well, Portia wound up sleeping with Isaiah, and if that comes out, well, then I'm not gonna lie, I have no idea what's gonna wind up happening, but it's according to Curtis, it's not gonna be good. I mean, now Drew. So Drew sees Willow. He was like, "Oh, I'm so happy to see you," and I was thinking about you. The moment I woke up, I was like, "You sent it telling me that she was the first person you was thinking about when you woke up, not your goddamn daughter, bro." Every time it's just like, how do you just manage to find a way to just disappoint me every single time? Like, bro. So anyway, talking about that, and Willow gives him an update on Scout and everything. Now Carly. So Carly comes in the hospital and talks to Liz, asks to sit there and see where Drew's at. Lucas comes over and Lucas like, did you tell anybody? Did anybody else find out or hear that you threatened to kill Drew? And so they talk for a little bit, and then she leaves because she wants to sit there and talk to Drew. And Liz is like, hey, listen, I'm not gonna say anything. I'm not gonna, just walk over there and say something. But if they ask me, she's not gonna lie either. She's not gonna perjure herself. Like, you know what I'm saying? So anyway, um, Carly comes into the room and is just looking at both of them. And just like, you know what, you're a disappointment. I expected you to do some dumb ish, like get back together with this man. And so, long story short, Carly's like, Scout, temporarily while you're in the hospital, should be at the quartermates. Just get this whole thing lifted, just temporarily, so this way she could be with her brothers and her family and stuff like that, because it's a really difficult and stressful time. Once again, Drew's like, no, because Danny's a danger, and Alexis Babs smiles me, and this, that, and the third, and he's just like, I'm not gonna do it. And she's like, this is what Scout needs right now. You need to be honoring Sam's wishes. And at this point, Drew's like, you need to sit there and start worrying about my kid and start worrying about your own kid. Because when it comes out that, Michael's the one that shot me, and seeing how he has a history of manslaughter or whatever, then it's like, this is still possible that, maybe you shot me. I mean, you did sit there and prep me right in front of Liz, so, and your family has a history of, unaliving people, so it's totally possible. So at this point, Carter's like, you know what? Listen, I tried with you. I tried to do the right thing. Not necessarily, you know what I'm saying? Like the fact that she has to sit there and talk to Drew. And she wouldn't talk to Drew. She wouldn't spit on him if he was on fire. But this was about Scout and honoring Sam. And of course, Drew wants to be Drew. So the conversation went nowhere. And she kind of figured it was going to go nowhere, but she had to try anyway. So she leaves. And long story short, Drew is like, what if Michael shot me? What if I remember Michael shot me? I mean, even if he didn't, if I remember it, it's going to be able to get the kids back. I mean, isn't that what you want? Willow's like, you know what? Listen, yeah, that's fine. Whatever it takes to sit there and get back the kids. And, Drew's all like, I mean, in the beginning, he did sit there and say that he didn't remember. But then he's like, what if my memories magically come back? So, long story short, he's going to make sure that Michael gets screwed over. And yeah, I mean it's interesting because it's like you get back the kids and everything like that. Like, what are you gonna sit there and tell Wiley and Amelia? And they're like, why is Daddy going to jail for? Well, I guess she's not going to really care because she got back to kiss, and that's clearly all that matters. Um, Trina was in there for a little bit with Portia, and she asked her, did anybody else have this blackmailing evidence against you? And Portia's like, why? Like, why are you asking that for? And I forgot what she sat there and said, but honestly, to tell you the truth, let me see, because I'm like, oh yeah, 'cause she was like, she wants to sit there and help, because she feels guilty that she's the reason why Portia pretty much broke the law. Portia at this point is like, hey, listen, if the truth comes out, it is what it is, and she's just gonna sit there and just take it. It's like, I mean, what else can she really sit there and do? And she does sit there and tell Trina, because Trina's like, listen, you saved Drew's life, does not count for something. Is he gonna possibly let it go? And Portia's like, tell him about his energy when I saw him in a room or whatever. No, but she's not even worried about that. She's like, it's gonna be what it's gonna be, and she's made peace with it. And I guess at this point, you really don't have a choice. Now Nina comes to see Lulu, and long story short, she's also like, I think you should let Charlotte visit Valentine. And of course, she's like, oh, I don't want my daughter to sit there and see Valentine. I'm like, it's not just your daughter, but okay. And Nina's like, long story short, Jack may sit there and want to contact Charlotte directly. And then what's going to end up happening next. If she finds out that you knew and you didn't say anything, you're going to be an obstacle and she's going to resent you. Same thing that Carly was saying. So she was like, it's better if you do it. You set the pace and you set the tone, and you can be there, and you'll look more good in your daughter's eyes than there being an obstacle. So I'm like, Carly, if Nina Smith is saying the same thing that Carly is saying, it's like, come on, you gotta, you know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta listen to some sort of reasoning. Of course, she gets the call about Rocco. She goes to the hospital. He's fine. I mean, stitches and everything like that. But Dante thanks Liesel for helping Rocco. But Lulu did. I'm like, God damn. Now, Jason and Britt on the plane. And, for the majority of this flight, she is just being stubborn and cold, because she's still just like, I'm not going to sit there and try to count on you just for you to put Carly first, because you always put Carly first. And I'm not doing that. I'm not getting sucked back into that toxic shit that you got going on with her. But she does sit there and ask to borrow like $20, and she's like, all right, maybe I need like $40 or whatever. He just gives her like a stack of hundreds, like it's fine. I'm gonna pay you back, Don't worry about it. I was like, Jason's a G. I mean, I would just give you like maybe like 100 or whatever, but like, I mean, the dude's rich, so it's not really enough, whatever. I feel like she's still hurt, but there's a huge part of her that wants to give her a chance. I mean, give him a chance as far as like, getting back together with him. And I get it because the way he did it sucked. Um, and yeah, we know, and he does it then say it wasn't as simple, you know what I'm saying? But like, he does understand, he does understand her feelings. I'm just like, part of me is kind of like, maybe you can kind of cut the guy a little bit of slack, seeing how he did come back for you. And he, you know what I'm saying? Like, he did sit there and rescue you and saved your life and stuff. You might want to kind of ease the temperature a little bit. Anyway, they get back to Port Charles. She walks in, and Liz sees her, and Dante, and Lulu, and Liesel, and everything like that. And Lulu's like, oh, I thought you were a dad or whatever. Like, Yeah, well, she's not dead, so I guess you're just gonna have to suck it up or something. And Liesel, she faints. What else happened? Oh, Carly decided to get ahead of everything, so she goes down to see Anna, and she tells Anna, "Hey, just let you know, I threatened Drew, but I was with Jack Brennan the whole night, and you can sit there and ask him." And Anna's like, "Yeah, that's fine. He told me, but he's also a liar." So, and I'm pretty sure he could probably come up with some reasons or fabricate something. Like, the dude's a liar. I don't trust him. And Carly's like, Jack will never sit there and lie to me. This is as Jason is walking right into the room. Now, I don't think that he actually says anything as far as her daughter being recruited by Jack to be a WSB agent. At least, okay. I feel like if he is going to do it, he's going to do it towards the end of the episode. I feel like he's going to do it towards the end of the episode. I just have this feeling. Um, what else? I feel like this. Nope, wrong show. Oh, only 2 pages. I think I'm done. I feel like that's about it. I can't think of anything else. But if I'm missing anything, write in the comment section below. I will be doing a live stream tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. So anything that I don't talk about here, then I will talk about it in the stream tonight. With that being said, I'm going to go. I'll see you in the next video.